Do you think people get tired of me saying the same seven guys over and over again, though? Or
Look,
like,
as long as he's a point zero,
this is fair. Yeah.
um,
And if you're tired of me, let us know.
and then we'll delete your comment.
No, we
Um,
won't. We'll just hide it and then print it out and cry over it.
um,
Welcome to Ordinary Effort, where a bunch of random fans get some random baseball players and try not to biff the grid. I'm Mike here with my buddy Josh. We're looking at Immaculate Grid 374, and we've got another Mets grid here. And Josh, this is a stat category. I don't know that we've done this 40 WAR before.
I mean, we may not have recorded an episode with it. We've in the Discord, we've mentioned before on this show. I feel like we've tackled these war ones. We've mentioned it in stat episodes before, but you might be right. Yeah, and this will be a fun one with the pitch minimum one game and the
Yes.
40 war threshold. So, we've got some fun ones. While we've been talking about it, the Discord server is we launched it a while back, and it's just a really fun place to meet other baseball fans. You can go in there, you can post your daily grids, you can hear players that people like to use on the grid. There's a chat about baseball news, and we also like most nights of the week we play grid together in the chat. If you're sitting here wondering like what is Discord and you feel overwhelmed by the app, Mike and I are new to it too. So
Yeah.
um, give it a shot. It's a really cool baseball community. We'll put it in the description, regardless of the platform you're watching or listening on, and we would love to see you there. Um, yeah, and what
Yeah.
else did I miss, Mike? Any housekeeping stuff?
No, I mean, the usual. That's the big one that we're on Blue Sky now,
Yeah,
which has an awesome baseball community too. But yeah, I mean, the Discord is
it's a ton of fun.
it's been yeah, it's like the hangout, like a
Yeah,
nightly, pretty much almost on a nightly basis, where we're just like, oh yeah,
yeah,
learn more random baseball players from
yeah,
1887. Like,
yeah,
really, really
yeah.
fun.
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't
know
think
if we'll
we're getting.
drop any of them, but
There's no way we're getting, well, the White Sox, I think we're the only
sure.
franchise on this grid that we have a
Yeah.
shot to maybe have a player from back that far, but I don't know any White Sox who played before 1900, so that's out of the question. Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, well, so down the side we've got Tampa, Houston, and pitched minimum one a game. Across the top, White Sox, Mets, and 40 plus WAR for their career. Where do you
Yeah.
want to start?
Um, can I come out hot with a plug? Let's
Yes.
1988 Tops. I mean, it's easily my favorite baseball podcast now. We were introduced to them by Adam Dorowski from Sports Reference, and now I tune into basically every episode. They're just also awesome, awesome people. They cover a player in the 1988 top set every episode, but sometimes they'll just tangentially talk about another player. And one of those guys is Don McMahon. They didn't do an episode on Don to my knowledge. And yeah, he pitched for the White Sox, pitched for a ton of teams. He was a closer, kind of bounced around. I know sometimes we try to get like cute and get a position player in here, but I think McMahon's like rare enough that he'll score pretty well. So I'd love to throw him in there.
Yeah, we could do that. I mean, yeah, that we could, like you said, we could throw. I mean, this guy's from recent memory, like Oscar Colas had a couple cups of coffee with the
Oh,
team.
yeah.
You want to talk about like Timo Perez played briefly with the White Sox after he was on the Mets World Series
Mm.
team, but I'm down to throw Don McMahon here. Give the shout out to the '88 Tops guys.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, Don.
That's just what I'm saying, man. Like, no one understands this 0.009%.
The double zero. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
we don't get a lot of those. At least, yeah, wow. Okay.
And I
Point
don't think we
zero
need to
zero.
worry about this being an older grid. Don's been retired for a while.
He's been out of the league a couple of years now. Yeah,
As you
he's
can see from
definitely
the headshot, but
Hall of Fame eligible.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
All
that's a
right.
great way to great way to
Okay,
start.
awesome. Yeah. Where do you want to go next, Mike?
So I'm the war column is both intriguing and makes me nervous, but I think
Yeah.
that we can throw some decent players here. When I feel inclined, I know this is like kind of a trick that people use where they'll use a position player for a pitching category. Um, I feel like there's got to be some old time, like some older players, position players who got into
Yeah.
pitch. Actually, so in the Discord, they were talking about, was it George Sisler had like a
Oh
decent
wow.
run as a pitcher? Was it Sis? And
You
there was
might be
another guy
right.
from that
Yeah.
from that time period. Was it, or maybe it was Tris Speaker?
I mean, Speaker, I know like just had a phenomenal batting average. I don't remember him as a if he got into a game as a pitcher.
I
Um,
mean, I'm just trying to draw back on the chat from the Discord, and I
yeah,
know they talked about this at length too one night. Like that was the topic of conversation one
they're
night.
gonna tell us. They're gonna
They're
tell us
gonna,
for
yeah.
sure. Um, the guy we've like alluded to, and I think we mentioned him on a live stream. We might have used him on our first live stream. He's just a pitcher, but old Haas Radborn is just like an
Old
epic
Haas.
headshot to get on your
Yeah,
grid.
with the
So just
mustache,
I'll
old.
throw it out there as an option, but we might be able to do better.
I
Um,
mean, it's hard to do better than old Haas Radborn. I love what as I feel like when I first learned about him, I threw him on every
yeah,
grid that I could.
yeah. You introduced me to old Haas, and I mean, I think he had a season where he threw like I'm going to exaggerate, but it was like 400 innings. He threw a ridiculous amount because it's the time where you know you just did it all.
Yeah, let's
Why don't we put old Haas?
let's get old Haas on there. Why not?
Okay.
0.6% hidden gem.
I know
Oh,
exactly what the headshot looks like, and it gets me
yeah.
every time.
I see it in my sleep
Uh,
sometimes. It's disturbing. Oh, wow. Okay.
uh,
So, all right. So
you
I
want to
was
do one of these
debating.
Mets
I was
ones?
gonna say, do we? We'll sprinkle them in. Maybe we'll do
Okay.
the outsides and then come to the middle and end on the Mets.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
okay, Mets pitched one game.
Oh
There's a
man, you
guy.
got
Okay,
some
so there's
people.
I got some guys. Of course, I've got. So,
Yeah.
uh, so when we had Joe Arico on,
Mhm.
we had born outside of the U.S. and Mets, and I used Ken Takahashi was a
Mm.
relief pitcher. I think he had 1 year. There two. Hisanori Takahashi was also a Met and was a pitcher, and both played very briefly. I think Ken was the one who had a 1 year career.
Yeah.
Um, but we've used him, and I want to go back to like this is probably like the mid 2000s. There was a guy. Um, oh wait a minute. Okay, so there's two players.
Okay.
One is Alay Soler. I'm pretty sure he only pitched one season,
Sure.
and it was with the Mets, so he would work for like only one team, I'm pretty sure. And then there's another guy who more recently, I think in 2020 or 2021, he made two starts with the Mets. He made one start with the Cubs, and he may have pitched for the Padres. Very short career. Robert Stock.
Oh wow.
Um, I mean, I'm I'm sure all of these guys are going to be very low,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to figure out which one will be the lowest.
I think you're splitting hairs to be honest. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
I was gonna throw out like Joely Rodriguez or something like that, but I
because
if you made me guess, I would say Robert Stock, but I think all the guys you mentioned are really good ones here.
okay. Hmm. Let's do let's do LA Soler
Okay,
because
nice.
just
Yeah.
because he played only for the Mets and
Yeah.
Cubs fans would not be onto him. I think the way they might know about Robert Stock's one start with them
Yeah.
4 years ago. LA Soler 0.05%
Nice.
hidden gem,
There you go.
triple play
In
to
the
start
Mets
us off.
hat. There we
Beautiful.
go.
Okay.
I've got one for top left.
Yeah, let's
I
do
think
it.
I've told you this story, but White Sox Rays, Tony Graffinino, middle infielder that
Ooh.
bounced around a few teams. The reason I know him, so when I was in the third grade, my teacher my
Didn't see that
teacher
twist coming.
yeah, my teacher told us this story that Tony Graffinino went to our high school and he asked her to prom And the night of prom, he bailed on her because he claimed he had to practice baseball. And I'm in my 30s now, and I'm starting to put the pieces together. And I'm thinking like the math isn't mathing because, I mean, with all due respect to my third grade teacher, Miss Blam, um, I don't think Tony had to practice baseball at 9 o'clock, and I think either.
He made it to the majors. Maybe
Yeah,
this is
I mean,
why.
the commitment is
Oh,
is incredible. So I think, look, either that story had some holes in it to tell us to chase our dreams, or Miss Blam got lied to. But I would say let's throw Tony on there. He worked for the team, and the guy clearly cared a lot about the game. So
yeah, I think he's going to be a little more rare than Manny Ramirez. So let's go
yeah,
Tony
yeah.
Graffanino.
Here we go. Yeah.
25%
Okay.
hidden
Nice.
gem.
Prom king Tony Graffanino.
Oh my
Um,
God.
yeah.
Oh, wow. All right.
Tony, if you're
Do
out there, I want to know the story. So,
we
okay.
need to
Yeah.
verify what actually happened.
Yeah. All
Okay.
right.
So you want to jump over to Tampa 40 plus war career?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the obvious ones are like Boggs, Fred McGriff, Manny Ramirez,
Yeah.
and I would like to avoid those guys.
Yeah.
But
Oh, no, I'm thinking like, I don't know why you know this, but David Wells never pitched for Tampa Bay, did he?
he did not. No, he
No, I'm just
didn't.
trying to think of pitchers who might have
Mm,
had a stint with Tampa. Um,
Charlie Morton did. I
yeah, I don't
don't
know if he
know.
hit 40.
Corey Kluber did. I don't know that he hit.
Fernando
I,
Rodney, but I feel like it's hard to reach WAR
it's
thresholds as a
very hard to. Yes,
reliever.
it's very difficult as a reliever. Not to say that he didn't do it.
He
He pitched a
might
long
have,
time
yeah.
too, but that's
It's riskier.
yeah. Um, I mean, obviously we want to avoid like Evan Longoria as well here.
Right?
Trying to think
Yeah.
of like who are some like because
Carlos
the Rays.
Pena, but I don't know that he hit 40 WAR. Um,
I don't know. I don't
Same
think
thing with
he
like Carl Crawford.
did.
He kind of had like some good years, but I don't know if he would have
He,
amassed 40. I mean, 40 is a
it's
really
a
good threshold.
yeah, it is.
Just
Yeah, this
thinking
one
here. Nelson Cruz would have done it.
Nelson Cruz probably is yes. Oh,
Probably pretty high up there.
did Jose Canseco played for
He
Tampa,
did.
didn't he?
He did. That's a good one too.
Oh, I feel like he might be the play. I mean, yeah, no, because for some, I mean, maybe it's just because a lot of people really loved Manny Ramirez. That like people I've used, I feel like I've thrown him on a Tampa box before, and he's like,
Yeah,
not that he's a high percentage, but people are aware that Manny,
right.
and they've used him on the grid. I feel like Canseco is probably a little bit more under the radar for this box, and I'm pretty sure he cleared 40.
He definitely did. The only other one I'm thinking about is Damon because I remember looking at his baseball reference page and he had over
Oh,
2,000
he
hits.
probably did too. Yeah.
But
He
I
yeah,
think that Canseco might be a better play here.
we have used both of them, but I do think yeah, I think Canseco is probably more rare
I think he's
also.
better than McGriff, Manny, the real obvious one.
Definitely,
So I would go
definitely.
Canseco here.
Okay. Jose
Mhm.
Canseco for Rays 40 plus war. 4%.
Okay,
Okay.
nice.
All
For an
right.
expansion team,
Hey, at least we didn't
not
throw
upset
Evan.
about that.
At least we didn't throw Evan Longoria.
We've evolved. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want
Right.
to knock
Well,
out this last 40 war here?
yeah, sure. Astros 40 plus war career. I mean, you've got a bunch of guys that fit here. I mean, obviously we're going to stay away from the career Astros like Biggio, Bagwell,
Yeah.
um,
Randy
Jeff,
Johnson.
Randy
Um,
Johnson, Jeff Kent works here. I'm pretty sure.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Good call.
uh, so we talked about this on, I want to say it was the Two Strike Noise podcast. I think his name came up for Royals A's. and possibly Astros. Miguel Tejada played
Yeah, he
for a
did
couple
play for the
seasons.
Astros.
I
Yeah.
don't know if he cleared 40 WAR though.
Yeah.
Like his peak was very good. Did he do it
Right.
long enough? Maybe, probably. How long did Miguel Tejada play? Let's find out if I can spell it.
Um,
16 years.
yeah, I'm not sure about
Good.
that. I mean, yeah,
But
could be.
war can also go down. And if he had a couple
Yeah.
down years that I think he probably cleared it, but I
The
don't
other one is,
feel
is Lofton. I feel like we throw him a lot, but Astros is one of his teams.
yes.
Um,
Yeah.
I don't
Kenny
think we
Lofton.
have to necessarily use him. I'm trying to think of pitchers because I feel like they've just had so many guys pitch, but
Yeah.
to have 40
War.
WAR, I don't think Pettit, as good as Pettit was in the postseason for the Yankees, I don't know if he cleared 40 WAR.
You don't think Pettit did
Um,
it? I
he
feel like
might
Pettit
have. I don't
probably
know.
did.
I mean, he pitched for the Astros, so I remember being really upset when he went to the Astros as a kid. Um, if
I
you
mean,
think he cleared it,
did he really ever have any bad seasons though?
it's
I mean,
true. Yeah. No, I mean he very well might have. I mean, I think overall he was probably just as good, if not better, than Wells, and we know Wells cleared it.
I think Pettit probably works here, and we're probably. I feel like if we look at this, it's gonna be like, hey, Andy Pettit had a 76 WAR, and
Let's do it
we're
then. I mean, I feel like
uh,
we've been playing it safe a little bit. I mean, let's yeah.
Andy Pettit
Okay.
2%. All
All
right,
right. So,
okay, I feel
okay,
good with that.
nice. Yeah. I bet you're right. I bet he cleared it by a good threshold. So,
Another 40. He
um
did it twice over. We're
yeah.
just
Yeah.
okay,
Uh,
ordinary as usual. Uh, you want to go? You want to go White Sox Astros, or do you want to
yeah.
mix in a
Trying to
Mets
think
one
of that
here?
one. We could do White
Well,
Sox Astros and let you kind of close it out, Mets.
I mean, Jose Abreu is probably
Yeah.
one of the more obvious ones here. Um,
Jake Diekman, did he do Astros? I know
that's
he
a
did White Sox.
I feel like you're a big Jake Diekman fan. You've mentioned him several times
I've
in
got my
these, and
guys,
it's
man. None of them
always
are very exceptional, but I've got my guys.
I'm
But
upset
that
that
being said, I should know if he did it or not. But
I'm upset that my guy Melanson doesn't fit on this grid.
I know it's devastating. Yeah.
What are we doing here?
um,
Ah, Astros, White Sox.
I want to say there's a guy that the Discord people love to throw out, and it's Roberto Hernandez. And I
Ooh,
know White Sox is one of his teams.
he
I
was
know
a
they told me
Met.
he was a first round draft pick too. He's a Met. I don't know if the Astros is one, so it probably doesn't help us, but um
Yeah. I mean, he did.
hmm,
He was like because he came up when we um was that also the Tops podcast where we talked about they talked about the white flag trade. Roberto Hernandez was traded for Keith
yeah,
Volk from
you're
the White
right.
Sox to the Giants. So there's that, but that doesn't help us with the Astros.
I will not put Jose Abreu on this grid. No
Yeah,
offense
no,
to him. It's just going to be
can't do
like
that.
80%.
I mean, Lofton's probably better for these two teams. I'm
Yeah,
not saying he's going to be a hidden gem, but I think he's
I did think about that, but yeah, I think the White Sox especially, people might have forgotten
oh,
about.
Martin Maldonado, who we did not know
Oh my
if he
gosh.
played for the White Sox, definitely played for the White
Let's do
Sox.
some redemption with Martine. He
All
will
right.
also, unless they've changed it, he'll come up with a beautiful White Sox hat.
Martin Maldonado,
There we
6%.
go. That's all
All
right.
right, but yeah, at least now we know this happened.
Yeah,
Okay, so uh Mets, Astros.
we can't use Nolan Ryan.
No, we're not going to use Nolan Ryan. Um, I mean, Blast Minor.
Oh
Blast
yeah,
Minor fits here, and I cannot
yeah.
emphasize enough Blast Minor. If you've watched the show, Blast Minor.
Listen,
Well, and so in looking into obscure relievers, Mike Maddox also works for this box, and now I'm very torn about which one to use because they're both
I
pretty
yeah,
good. Um,
Blast is gonna score. I If it's not a
I
point
know,
zero
I know,
something, I'd
I
be
know.
shocked.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, then you have
Jose Vizcaino, we've mentioned
Vizcaino, yeah,
before.
Jake Marisnik works here.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Richard Hidalgo works here.
Oh
Richard Hidalgo
yeah,
was good. I
yeah.
feel
Kind
like
of
we
remember
don't
that
talk enough
name.
about Richard Hidalgo. He might become one of my new guys to start highlighting. He had some really good years in
Yeah,
Houston, and I think he was decent for the Mets too. Um, yeah,
I think
I
Blast,
don't
man.
even
This is
listen.
like,
When I make the thumbnails for these reels, I look for pictures, and it's very difficult to find a picture of Blast Minor on
we'll
the.
contact his family. Like, well,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'll just call, the family of Blast
Mrs.
Minor
Minor.
for a
Or,
photo of him on the Houston Astros. Yeah, let's put Blast Minor, and if I can
yeah,
find a picture of him on Houston, I will try to get him up there or in a Mets jersey. Either way, Blast Minor
this is what
point
I'm
zero
saying,
one
man. We
percent
almost got
Tim Jump.
into
I
point
know,
zero
I
zero
know.
territory. I
Do you
mean,
think people get tired of me saying the same seven guys over and over again, though, or
look, as
like?
long as he's a point zero, we'll keep talking about
This
Blast
is
Minor.
fair. Yeah. And if you're tired of me talking about Blast Minor, let us know. Comment on it. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
I'm trying to learn.
And then we'll delete your comment.
No, we
Um,
won't. We'll just hide it and
yeah.
then print it out and cry over it.
Um, all
Put it on
right,
the
Mets
fridge as
Rays.
motivation. Mets
I'm
Rays.
gonna throw out one guy, and I don't think this is your box, but I've recently gone on like a binge of Ray Sanchez. Remember Ray Sanchez?
I remember the
And
name. I do.
someone called him out on Blue Sky, and he played for a bunch of teams, Yankees, Mets, and I know the Rays were one of them. I know because I remember the Baseball Reference page has TBD when it was the
Yes.
Devil Rays, and it
Yep.
always
Yep.
throws me off.
So that
What's
reminds
the
me, Ray
name, man?
Ordonez works here.
Oh,
Ray Ordonez, I think,
ooh,
had a year with Tampa at the end of his career. He
oh
was also
wow.
one of those I mean, he was one of the best defensive, infielders I've seen. I mean, and he was with the Mets most of his
Yeah,
career, so that's probably a little more obvious. Ray Sanchez, I mean, I remember the name. Uh, Probably not one that I would have thought of. Travis d'Arnaud works here
he does.
also,
Yeah.
and Wilson Ramos also works here. I'm thinking catchers.
I was
Uh,
thinking Phil Maton, but I think this grid is a little older and
Maton.
probably prior to Maton.
Uh, so
Or was he on which
he was on Houston. Are
why
you
do I
thinking
think he
of
was on the Rays? Who am I?
Stanek was on the Rays, Ryan Stanek,
Okay.
but that's definitely before he was on
I
the
think both for
Mets.
Maton, yeah. I'm thinking of
Yeah,
Astros, but I think it's before this grid being 374. So,
I mean Brooks Raley works here
oh
also.
yeah. Yep.
And
Yeah.
yeah, Jason Isringhausen works here.
Oh.
Um,
I like
and
Ordonez. I mean, I like Sanchez, but I'm biased a little bit.
yeah, yeah. And this one gets me because he was traded one of the worst trades that I can remember, but Victor Zambrano was the player the Mets got in the Scott Kazmir trade.
Oh, good.
It was great.
Sounds
Great.
like a great one.
Loved
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I think
Didn't we do this before? Didn't we do a
with
grid where like the last box was a Yankees one and you had a good guy and we went with your
yeah.
guy. I'm not saying we got to go. I'll let you make the call. We've named a couple guys. We got two Rays and two Rays for a Ray box. And
No, you can't do that to me because now I want to put one of them.
you
Oh,
could put whoever you want. I mean, I think
did
you've named
did
a bunch of guys.
did Hideo Nomo pitch for Tampa? Because he
I
pitched
don't
for the
know.
Mets.
That I can't help. I don't know.
I think he did,
Um,
but okay. Pick a Ray. You said you saw this on Blue Sky. You
if you
sure?
ask me, I'm positive Ray Sanchez fits, and I think he'll score pretty well.
All right. So yeah,
Um,
yeah. Let's do Ray Sanchez.
yeah.
0.3% hidden
There
gem.
we go.
Okay.
Yeah, nice. They can't even get a headshot for him. That's just a nice swing.
No, it's an action shot. That's same with Blast actually too. And
Yeah,
then Alea
yeah,
Solaire looks like they took the picture in a broom closet. So it's a great row of
yeah.
great column of headshots. So we got a 13 on this grid, which is rarefied air by our
Nice.
made up standards. And we've got one, two, three, four, five, six hidden gems,
I'll take it.
and some old names, some new names. Old Haas Radburn's on here. It's always good
We
when we
don't.
can get a black and white photo on here. We don't do these very well at all, and
You
I
don't.
guess
Yeah. I was gonna say we almost went all. Martin Maldonado's still a current player, so he's the only current
Mm,
player on here. But I mean, old Haas is he hung up the cleats a while back. So
just a few years ago, yeah, yeah.
yeah, pretty much.
All right, Ordinary Effort on Instagram, Blue Sky. If you're listening, we're on YouTube. If you're watching, we're on the podcast platforms. And our Discord channel, our Discord server, I gotta stop calling it channel. Our Discord server is a whole lot of fun. Link should be in the description, right? That's where we're putting
Yep,
it.
that'll be there. Yep,
Join that,
and
please. It's fun.
join it. Learn about grid players. Subscribe to YouTube. Do all the things, and we'll be back. Right. Thanks for watching.